Waterwave TV, DJ Cam and he's sitting here. Waterwave TV, man, y'all see what the fuck going on? We trying to up in this bitch. Shout out Waterwave TV. Waterwave TV. Waterwave up in this bitch. Man, shout out to Waterwave. We do this shit all the time, bro.
Waterwave in this bitch.
Yes,
AC
sir.
in this bitch. You know the fucking vibes, man. Waterwave, you know what it is.
Hey, big Waterwave. Big Waterwave.
Welcome to another Waterwave TV interview. As you can see, we're in a different room this time. We have never been in this room for an interview. You might have seen it in the vlogs, but today I'm here with...
It's your boy Rift. Shout out to Waterwave TV.
Yes, sir. I know you've had a busy-ass day. I'm your third interview of the day, correct?
Yeah, we doing a little, what is, I guess you can call this a local press run.
Yep.
You know, for our projects and everything that we got going on. So
yeah, so how have you been this weekend? What you been on?
I flew in, what was it, Friday? What's today, Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
I flew in Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which day. And then my mother-in-law, we celebrated her birthday. Then I went to see my brother last night. And then now today I'm doing this. And then I'm back in LA tomorrow. So this trip usually for me was just more of like a personal
Hell yeah, for
trip,
the birthday and to see family and stuff.
Know, I'm here, I might as well circulate, show support,
Mm-hmm.
you know, try to connect with some people in the city, intermingle, figure out what I can do on my part to be a part of something, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
You know.
So you're from Minnesota originally, correct?
I'm originally from Cleveland.
Okay.
I was born in San Diego. I was raised and grew up in Cleveland, but I didn't get my name until I moved here in 2011.
Okay.
So from 2011 to 2018, I pretty much was from here, lived here, thrived here, became something here, and then transitioned to LA.
Cool.
So it's kind of weird. It's like I'm an orphan, like a U.S. orphan. So like, cause I'm basically from Cleveland and Minneapolis. You know what I mean? So now it's weird because like my fans base is growing in Cleveland. Never really tried to market there, you know, because all the other artists, Cuddy, MGK, everybody over there. So I was like, oh, let me try over here. But now it's just crazy. Now fast forward years later, it's like people are like, oh well, he's from Cleveland, but he's from Minneapolis, and now it's like a bidding war. People trying to get me to choose. So it's weird. So I just claim both.
Hell yeah. So what year did you start making music then? You said you started when you were in Cleveland.
I mean, I've been making music off and on my entire life,
Yeah.
but it's been more of like just me tinkering around with beats and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and beat machines and software, and then watching my dad DJ in the basement for like, he's been doing it 30 plus years. So I used to use my voice for samples, you know, on the keyboard. So he'd be like crying in a high chair, like,
Oh wow.
you know, shit like that, and watching him do that type of shit and making his own songs and his own tapes on real tapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, early 90s shit. That's pretty much how that was.
Cool. So he was like big inspiration probably to why you got into music, obviously.
Facts.
Hell yeah.
That's
It was him, and like what artist kind of was he playing in the house besides himself, or like the people that he was probably working with?
He was playing every genre, and I think that's probably why I'm multi-genre myself.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing everything from Michael Jackson to Mark Wahlberg and to Boyz II Men to Mariah Carey to... These are just things that he would practice with in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and he would mix his original songs in with some of the popular songs at that time. So I got a good plethora of music just growing up hearing different sounds, you know.
Oh yeah. So what's it been like? I guess you've lived in Cleveland and then you moved out to Minneapolis and Minnesota, and now you're in LA. What have you picked up from each state that's like helped your music career, I guess you could say?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. I'd say what I picked up from each one of these locations is I feel like just being yourself and staying consistent. And I don't really mean that in the most literal sense. I kind of mean that in like if somebody's seeing you, if somebody's always seeing you, it doesn't matter if it's one person, two people, a million. If somebody's always seeing you being active, you're just living your life. One thing that it's all taught me, because I was traveled in the military and then traveled with my music, so I've always grown to be around different cultures and people. So, but one thing I would take away is people are fascinated with other people's lifestyles. People are fascinated with just other people because it's not their life, so it's always going to be interesting or entertaining to them. So something that I may seem or feel like is personally boring to me that I don't want to showcase to my viewers may necessarily be something that's very prominent that somebody might be missing out on because I'm overlooking it, you know.
Yeah.
So it just taught me to think outside of myself more than anything, and to understand that consistency. So, and giving yourself to people outside of the music, and just letting the music be 20% over you, and letting them see you outside of that, because that's how people connect with you, and that's how the rest of your shit will fall into. And ultimately, I feel like that's kind of how I'm here, because I've been seeing you guys, I've been watching you guys, you've been staying consistent with the vlogs and the posting, and I'm constantly seeing you guys all the time, even if I'm not following or clicking like or something. It's just it's in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing the progress, the productivity, the activity. You're staying consistent with whatever your thought process is. People just flock to that because they start to see the structure, they start to see the beginning, and then now they're thinking back when you started and where the middle point was, and then when you just do it again a year from now, all those milestones. You're literally showing people the American dream in rungs on the ladder, rather than the whole thing at one time. That's how you're instilling people's belief in you, by doing things like that. So that's just one thing it's definitely taught me, is stay consistent with yourself regardless of what's happening around you, because time is a tricky thing, bro. And one song could not be doing nothing now, and 2 or 3 4 years from now somebody's listening to it because you took your mind off of it. So now it's been blessed to you, it's been given to you.
Hell yeah, that's probably the best answer you could have had for a question
keep it
like
brief,
that.
you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, no, that shit's dope. And while you take a sip of that water, you know who's sponsoring the videos, you know who's sponsoring the brand, Northern Chill, America's water, the best water in the world.
Gotta stay alkaline, guys. Gotta stay alkaline.
7.8 pH balance. It's one ingredient, natural spring water. Just look on the bottle, get yourself a case. You can get it on northernchill.com, Amazon, and a few local retailers that are listed on the screen right here. It says calcium, magnesium, chloride, sodium, potassium. It's got all that just in the water. Best water out here. And we sell it in the Waterwave TV store too if you really want it. Yeah.
Shout out Northern Chill.
There you go. I know you heard that. That's some ASMR shit. So you've been to Cleveland, been to Minnesota. Now you live in LA, correct?
Yeah.
And that's where your studio and where you do most of your music at now?
Yeah, I've been living there for about 3 years.
Do you do the work out of the house, or do you have a place you go to?
I do a little bit of both. So if I'm on the fly or if I'm pressed for time, I'll just work on my own setup. But I usually prefer to work outside the house. So I have a few places in the hills that I go to, Woodland Hills for one, and Hollywood Hills for the other one. And then there's one that on rare occasions, I'll go to in downtown LA. But I do that because there's been a bunch of other artists that have come through that has recorded there that are like really, really big, and there's a lot of memorabilia on the walls.
It's proven to work.
So it's just that energy is always in there every single time. And then when I look out the window, I'm in the valley. I can see the energy, the air, the trees, the birds, the mountains, the palm trees, the people's pools in their backyard, the rangers parked.
It's like motivation, yeah.
So it's just like, oh, okay, this is why I'm here. I'm standing right here because, okay, bet, this is all reminding me. So it's just a good feeling. It's just a good feeling to get out and be productive. Because sometimes if I'm at the crib, I'm getting lazy. I'm fuck it, all right, I'll turn this shit in tomorrow. You know, like, it's so, sometimes I like to get out my comfort zone, get out the crib. Otherwise, I start pushing shit back and I'm slowing myself down.
I feel that. So what's like a day-to-day life then, or week-to-week life for you? Is like studio and living your normal day-to-day life as well?
Normal day-to-day life, first and foremost, my father. So I got my workouts. Our diets are scheduled. Cook the meals, we put them in the fridge. And I got my kids. I got to homeschool every day. And then my oldest one, not my youngest, but just my oldest one right now, has a lot of auditions. She's already been in a bunch of music videos for Drogba, French Montana, Afrobeat, Whitney Houston, Pentatonics, Travis Scott, Rosalia, and Amber Mark. And then I can't remember the rest of them. And then she was on HBO for like a couple of episodes from like a season of Westworld or some shit.
Wow.
So, and her best friend is on that Netflix show that's coming out in like 2 weeks of shows.
Nice.
So like between me and my wife managing that, her career, and then my career, scheduling my studio time, and then my interviews, appearances, shows, collaborations. If I'm working with a cause or a foundation, I got to schedule time for that. And then we just opened an office for the PR firm that we have. So then now, we got people that we got to hire because the clients are coming in, and we got to keep up with that. And so it's just been kind of an organized chaos, to say the least. But like it's just kind of like you don't really have time to like think about it. You just kind of have to, oh, this is coming in, okay, I need to set up a structure to manage this. Okay, what's next? And then when you just have 5 or 6 different wheels going at one time, then you can start building your team and plugging people where you need them to go.
Yeah.
So day-to-day life like that, that's just normal for me. So like workouts, homeschooling, and then we get to all our auditions, and then I get to emails, and then I get to like recordings, and then if there's anything music, like marketing, meetings, things of that. And then after that, then it's just free time, family time. I might go somewhere, I might take a trip, or I might have an event. There might be a red carpet event I need to do that week, because I gotta go get a certain publication to meet somebody, to shake somebody's hand because they're a producer, and my distribution's like, hey, this would be good to connect with this person. And, you got this song with this person, let them know you have that song with this person, so you can leverage that relationship when you go out and talk to these people. So it's just organizing all of that into something that you can literally process through on a daily basis. So you're just organizing your life and structuring your life, everything from your releases with your music to how you get up, what you wear, what you're gonna eat that week, what you're gonna do that week, everything. So because if one thing's off, if my room's a wreck, if I skip a workout, which I do kind of frequently because sometimes I'm like hammered from the night before, or I smoke too much or whatever, but I try not to, because sometimes I might slack on one thing and it might cause me to slack on one, and the next thing I know, I got tomorrow's workload, but then I still didn't do what I needed to do today, so then that's just added on to tomorrow. So but that's just, it's not like overwhelming busy. Like obviously I'm here, but it's just learning to outlast and outwork everybody around you. Outwork, outlast. That doesn't mean you have to overwork yourself. You can pace yourself and give everything due process and due diligence, which is what I'm still learning to do for myself. Giving things time, because some things might take time to age, So some songs don't pop off right away. Some establishments don't take a year to build. Shit like that. So, but not to get too far off your question, but that's pretty much what every day would be like for me.
Way more than a music artist. So, you live the life. It's way more than just being a music artist, for sure. I didn't know you did all that. That sounds like you just sound like organized chaos. Definitely the best way to put it.
Well, I'm learning from, and I'll add this, and then you can jump into whatever. But it's just because I'm learning from like a lot of people that's above me. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of people that already have number 1 records. That's already millions. That's already been established for 10, 20, 30 years and shit. And so when you got people that's that comfortable, that's been making millions for that long, because songs they still living off of that they made in early 2000s, shit like that. Like, and they're telling me like, okay, just dial it back. Just pace yourself. You know what I mean? Just music should only be 20% of who you are.
Yeah.
You should still have other revenues, other residual incomes. So if my daughter's popping and she's got merch and she's on acting shows and commercials, that's her income. And obviously we are the ones managing, so we still make our percentages. That's still a residual. And then we have our own firm, then that's a residual. Then I have my own self as my own entity, that's a residual. And then anything else you can think of outside of that. So if we want to jump into restaurants or real estate or stock investments or whatever you want to do, be my guest. But it's just, that's what it's boiling down to. Because it's just trying to blow up that first time, a couple years ago. It was cool, but it was a learning experience because I realized real fast that it's not just the music that people was making it off of, It's everything else behind it that you don't see.
That's a really good advice, because there's a lot of kids that are getting into the music game and they just think that music is like what's going to get them rich. The only thing that it is like a music, and I don't want to do anything else. Like, I don't need to get into that because I'm a music artist. I don't need to venture into that because I'm a music artist. But you guys got to do a bunch of things.
This is coming from somebody that got a number 1 record. They told me getting a number 1 record is like hitting the lottery. All you need is 1 record, then it's over with, right? But you don't know when that's going to hit. Some of this person's records took 2 to 4 years to pop. Get what I'm saying? So something I'm doing now might not even roll over for another 5 years from now. I might not even be thinking about that song. I might not even be on music no more. I might be like, fuck it, I'm just traveling or doing whatever. And then because my mind's not on it, that's when it'll come through. It's always weird. It's always weird when you take your mind off it. It just come.
Literally.
So it's
You just can't stress about it too much. You just gotta let it do it.
yeah, you just gotta learn to let it go, and then just let things come naturally to you.
So your most recent music video, Backwards. Want to like break down the creation of it?
Sure.
Like it's like all your music videos, the quality is like 10 out of 10. So
Oh,
whoever,
thank you.
so you guys picking the right videography crew and
Yeah,
directors and stuff is fire. But but just your most recent one, Backwards. I don't know if kind of like break down the idea
Backwards.
behind that one.
Backwards, and I dropped that myself now. New song yesterday. See, that's another ADHD move. My team be telling me, bro, stop dropping so fast. But I be like, you know.
Yeah.
But no, Backwards. This one, the creative process behind it was this is more personal record for me because my dad co-produced that record. This is my first time working with music with my dad. Period. It wasn't that like. We just never got around to it. It just was, my mom died 3 years ago, so that we didn't have time. That fucked up our situation. Then I was with free Wi-Fi, so I was always traveling. And then before that, I was like with the fam and the kids and struggling. I couldn't afford to fly around and shit. You know what I mean? So never really had a chance to really work with my dad on music until recently. Because he's comfortable, I'm comfortable. We in a position now to where we can kind of focus on that. So this project is more close to me because I got my daughters dancing in the music video, or my oldest daughter, I should say. And then obviously my wife is the head of the PR firm, and she coordinated the creative direction. And then our cousin is film rap, so he filmed it. And then my dad produced the beat, co-produced the beat with my homie Kurt. And obviously I'm me rapping and singing and shit. So, and this is the first time that I have 3 generations on one record. My dad, then there's me, and then there's my daughter. He produced the beat, I'm performing it, and my kids dancing in the video. And we did the kids dancing in the video for the sake of TikTok and just having it fun and having it being family friendly because it's a clean record and it's electronica, EDM, up tempo. So I just wanted to show something more interesting to look at rather than just me messing around on the camera the whole time, And then this is more of just a recap and a milestone checker. Like, I made it. Can't believe it still. I'm still here. Yeah, okay, I'm going to flex a little bit on y'all. Pay attention, stay tuned. And this is just me playing around for a second. But at the same time, I'm kind of tripping on myself. That's why it's backwards, because my kid's blowing up faster than me, and then I'm teaching my dad shit. My kid's teaching me shit, teaching my dad shit. It's backwards.
Yeah, that's what
my life is backwards. How is my kid blowing up at 8 years old? I'm about to be 34. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just weird. It's like, things go well, things go successful, but they'll never go to where you expect it to go, especially like when there's certain things that you anticipating for, but it necessarily don't have to be a bad thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I'm not angry at the fact that my kid's doing so well. That's awesome, but it's just unexpected. It's unexpected, so it's like it's taking me aback. Like, damn, okay, how can I prepare? What do I gotta check on?
Yeah.
Because with her, it's like we don't think about it. We just help her with her shit, and she's just being a kid. So I think that's why her shit's hitting so hard, because it's just raw.
So
you're young. You're not thinking about anxiety. You're not thinking about if your teeth yellow. You're not thinking about if you got a fucked up haircut. You're not thinking about your insecurities and shit that normal people would be thinking about during like interviews or being on stage or whatever you may have it. So she don't know no better to be just by herself. So I feel like people just feel that organic energy from her, and I guess people would say that the parenting skills rub off because she's succeeding so well. So I'm like, cool, that makes me feel good, because if I don't get to where I want to be, at least my kid got a head start, you know what I mean? And then by the time she get to 18, 20 or whatever, then she already set, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's how you want it to be, though, because like you want to be able to hit a certain level by a certain age, and then you want to be able to have your kids hit that level earlier, so then their kids can hit that level earlier, and then eventually you just have generational wealth.
Facts.
So it seems like it's working the pace it wants to, even faster.
And I'm telling you, man, it just come like when you least expect it, bro. Like every time you try to focus on something, it's gonna slow it down. And it's just watching her and just watch, because we just learn to let everything go, man. I just can't keep repeating it, but it's literally like down to that basic mindset. Like if you can just learn to put everything up here, give everything in him, and just chill, bro. And just let it do what it's gonna do. You know what I mean? And then obviously you got your little marketing tactics for real life shit, and for what you got to do for your business. But I'm talking about just the organic nature of not being too close or too biased or too eager to a skill set or a baby that you have, something that you're cherishing. You know what I mean? Just learn to live without it, learn to let it go, but it still learn to appreciate that. So if you had to live without it, you're not depending on that one, or just you're too attached to it to where you're getting emotional now because something is affecting it too good or too bad or whatever. You know what I mean? Because things can go really well really fast, and if you're not mentally prepared for it, you'll fumble it because you're not in the right mindset of how to accept it. You might not have all your baskets ready to receive all the shit that's falling, all the chips that are falling, or the leaves to catch the leaves or whatever. So sometimes you might have to sit back and be patient and set up all your little baskets down here, and everybody looking at you funny like, this nigga buying all these grocery baskets and just lining these bitches up. And then one day this money just fall, and everybody looking at you with all the grocery baskets full of all the all the money now because you prepared for it, because you knew it was gonna rain one day. Yeah. You just didn't know when that day was coming. You were just preparing for it. That's all you gotta do.
It's a good analogy.
Don't focus on the end goal, because you're gonna destroy yourself in the middle on the journey. Enjoy the journey and do the best you can each day you can. Just focus on that. And Drake said that in one of his interviews, and I've been sticking with that every single day, and it's been helping me. Fuck yeah. But not to run off on a tangent or nothing.
No, that's a good analogy. I never heard that one. You want to reset that one for me, Luigi, just in case? But there we go. Since we are in the shoe room, I figured, and you got some nice kicks on right now, some Versace. I forgot the Versace, but I forgot
the chain reactions.
Chain reactions. Yeah. We've had a couple pairs of those fluctuate through the store before. But what's your favorite type of shoe? Like Jordans or your designer shoe? Obviously you got the Versace's on right now, but what do you prefer to wear on a day-to-day basis, or
Jordans,
like if you're popping out?
Jordans, 11s are my favorite, all-time favorite. 11s. I will wear those until the end of time. I don't know why I love them so much, but I think I just have so much childhood history attached to them shoes. Because my brother bought me them shoes a couple times in 5th grade. I didn't have the money. I had to fight somebody. Like when I was 5th grade, to get my shoes and shit, like, cause it was just like he was trying to teach me how to stick up for myself.
I feel like that's how it was back then, cause so
he was like, I'm not buying you shoes.
Jordans back then were like you
his
fight
ass
somebody.
Pretty much like, So, but yeah, Jordan 11's like my favorite, just cause a lot of history outside of Jordans. I used to fuck with Forces. I still fuck with them because they look so clean, but I hate wearing them because every time I try to wear them, I forget that I don't have the shoe protectors to keep the shits from creasing, and then I try to go buy them, and then they all sold out. So it just makes me mad. And then I'm wearing the Forces all day, and I'm doing this shit with my toes.
So you don't crease them off the first.
Yeah, I'm walking like a dinosaur and shit, trying to get around, and outside of Jordans, I don't think I was ever able to afford much else outside of that. Just growing up, just because everything else is exponentially more expensive. But Tim's are classic wintertime shoes. Cleveland classic wintertime. And then there was a time I was into Supras. This was back when I was going to boot camp. I was really big into Supras and the Creative Recs. I used to wear them Creative Recreations all the time. I used to skateboard in them bitches all the time. I thought I was a shit, man. I had the little cut jeans with the you know those belts, the belt buckles with the little rhinestones, and they look like the skulls when the Party Like Rockstar came out.
Is it like the BB Simmons belts?
Yeah, the Party Like a Rock Star. Y'all remember that song?
Yeah, I remember that song.
Okay, yeah. So
I don't remember the video though.
Okay, yeah. So I was in high school during that time, so I was just like, yeah. So I used to wear all of that. You know what I mean? I had my little felines, I had my Jabos and shit, and my little thermals, and I don't know. I thought I was the shit with them felines, man. But now it's just simple. I keep it basic, man. Just Jordan 1s, 11s, and then I got some Vans, and that's a bit. That's it. That's pretty much what's in my closet today.
Well, what's like your favorite red carpet outfit you've worn, or what you would choose to wear? If you just kind of gotta pick anything.
Anything Dior, bro. I love it. Anything Dior, bro. It just looks right on the carpet every time, and like the black and white, you can't go wrong with the black and white, you know. And then obviously when I don't have the budget to keep doing that, then I'll rock local brands and shit like that, you know. And then sometimes I've gotten more reactions off of people's custom stuff that they've made for me to wear, you know. And so sometimes I kind of just check with the local people around me first, or my homies, or people who might got some new shit coming out, and then I'll be like, all right, I'm about to rock this to this event, and give them they little, you know, shine time and shit, and cross promotion. You know what I mean? Because it's like, shit, somebody might be like, damn, thanks for fucking with my shit on the carpet, and then somebody the next day, Beyonce might roll into their store and buy out their whole shit, and then because I fucked with you the day before you blew up. You might do me a favor one day, and then I don't really know. It's like, oh, great, thanks. You know, it's just paying it forward without even really have to think about it, bro. You just do it because you know that you want that person to succeed.
Yeah.
And anything that I do outside of me to help somebody is not going to affect me or my success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I do it, because even with the shoes, growing through the shoes, learning through the errors, understanding the culture, going through all the times, the struggles that I've been through here, living through here, with the people that I've met over the years, living here, you know, it's taught me to, you know, there's only so many people and so many strikes, you know what I mean? And I've tried my best to help some people, and they'll just take off and forget about you. And then there's some people who take off and they do this, and don't feel bad about it. Don't get upset about it. You don't have to become cold-hearted because some of them people didn't fuck with you. That's fine. Because look how many people did fuck with me because I still extended my arm to them. And now they're in positions at labels and, you know, different situations that now I need you for a favor.
Yeah.
Or I might need you for a radio promo. Or I might need you for this little playlist hookup. Or I might need you for you to get my homie on this little show over here. You know what I mean? So that's how you build relationships. Is don't be afraid to pay it forward with some people, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So
I agree 100%. So you got a lot of tattoos for what I can see. When did you get your first tattoo?
I got my first tattoo in Cleveland at my last apartment before I left for the military. And this was like maybe 3 weeks before that duplex got raided.
Okay.
I got a T and a D right here from my homie EJ. And he was like my best friend in high school. And I actually wrote a song about him and Nick Simmons because I missed Nick Simmons' funeral when he passed away a couple years ago. And then I missed EJ's funeral when he passed away 3 years ago. And I felt really bad about it because they kept calling me to come to go there. And I'm like, damn, I never got a chance to make it because I was going through some turmoil within the group and the label and management and shows that were coming up. And I knew if I left, it would compromise that set of run of shows for them. And I knew how much that meant to the team at that time. So I chose not to go to ensure that we had a successful run on the shows, and it eats me. You know what I mean? So, but he did my first tattoos, man. T and D. Shout out to Enrique.
How old were you?
I think I was 19 or 20. I was 20.
20 when you hit the first
Yeah,
one.
I was 20. Because then right after we got raided, my mom was really mad about that. And then it was like, I had nothing to do with it. But the guy upstairs had a bunch of plants. And then my roommate had like 2 or 3 in his closet or some shit. I mean, I knew about that shit. But I think that was just like smoking shit, you know?
Yeah.
But at the time, this is early Cleveland, you know, so they came in and, you know, it was ugly, and that's what made me go to the military. Because I was like, well, I need to clean up my record, and I need to make something of my life, and I don't want my mom just keep thinking that I'm just a disappointment all the time. So that's ultimately why I left to go to the military. And that was actually the only time I seen my mom cry, actually, was at the airport when I was getting dropped off for boot camp and shit. But I knew at that time, I'm like, all right, bet I'm making the right choice for myself at that time, you know.
Did you,
So-
I'm sure you learned a lot in the military. Did it kind of translate to, like, life out of the military, like, just the way you go about your day-to-day life or in your music
absolutely.
and stuff
Absolutely.
like
I
that?
still have PTSD today. I got 6 plates on the left side of my face. I got this hearing shit right here, hearing aid right here. So I have my experiences. I've had my concussions. I've had my friends that I've lost. I've had my friends who have gotten through things. I've had my friends who haven't gotten through things. I've been able to get through things, and I've been able to put myself in really bad positions by making bad choices for myself because I didn't know how to communicate or get over the emotional things that happened to me. So it's definitely shaped me into who I am today, most definitely. So, and I feel like that's why I am who I am today, and it's crazy because I feel like I'm more untouchable now than I've ever been, and I say that because there's nothing wrong that I'm doing to anybody out here. I don't have no ill intentions. I don't have no enemies. I'm just out here chilling. I finally got to a peaceful, content spot in my life to where I don't feel like anxiety is overrunning it. I feel like the anxiety I have now is controllable, and there's healthy anxiety and unhealthy anxiety. Before, unhealthy anxiety was adding to my healthy anxiety, which was overrunning my life, and I would make bad choices, you know. So I just feel like now it's a lot easier to manage it, because you have to understand, as you get bigger, your problems get bigger. They don't go away. You just have to understand to handle the pressure and maneuver through that the best way you can. And just to understand that the more you succeed and push forward, that's what's just going to keep happening. That's just what's going to come with it. So.
Oh yeah, this interview has been one for the books. I'd say
for sure.
You spit a lot of wisdom today.
No, definitely, man.
To a lot of the younger artists and people out there that are trying to get their life together, I feel like you gave a lot of good pointers and ways to go through life. A new single that just dropped is called Myself.
Myself Now, yes.
Myself Now.
Yeah. Myself
Now, that's right. Do you want to talk about that? Where
Sure.
can they find it, stream it? Where's it at?
It's Myself Now, produced by Angelo Bombay. Shout out to Angelo Bombay.
She's from out here too, right?
No, he's from out here.
Oh, he's out here.
Yeah, he's from over south. Yeah. So
Damn,
shout out to
I'm familiar with that name.
Angelo Bombay. He produces for me and like a bunch of other people in the city.
Okay, yeah.
Like produces for like Novion and Plaza, Free Wi-Fi, De Niro. I mean, like the list goes on. Forgive me, but
Yeah.
It's produced for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
If you're an artist and you don't have a beat by Angelo, you probably just not paying attention or something. I don't know, but everybody fucking with Angelo. He like that go-to guy. He'll get you a hit. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, but Angelo made that beat, and that song is probably my favorite song right now, just because I still feel like it resonates for how I feel right now. And I recorded it maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. And I was at a good spot in my life, but I was still kind of struggling with some emotional shit. And I feel like Myself Now, it just kind of says it all. And it's very easy listening, and it's the alternative, and the genre is alternative. So, and I felt like that message needed to be delivered in that manner. And I feel like this record is going to smack just like We Made It. My record, We Made It, was probably the biggest one I put out prior to that one, prior to Can You Hear Us Now. Mm-hmm. So, and then I feel like Myself Now is already getting, the feedback's wonderful already, and then the video's not even out yet. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was just really the creative process behind that, as far as just, I was in the most true form of myself when I recorded that song, and I just felt like that was the most literal way I can get how I was feeling out in that record, because that was the mindset I was living in during the experiences of my life at that time. That's the best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm. What's the craziest or most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you at a concert or like while you're on stage?
Craziest, most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to
something
me.
along those lines.
Okay, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to scramble. I know there was one incident when, rest in peace, Nick Simmons, when he was alive. I was on stage with Free Wi-Fi at a Lil Xan concert, and I think Ant, you was standing behind us filming actually, and remember them fake ass white pillars that look like them Roman Colosseum pillars? And this nigga Nick came up drunk as shit, and he was just trying to turn up, and I think he was trying to climb on the stage and then tip the whole thing over. I think it knocked over the DJ table and the music cut out. It was pretty bad, but I think everybody was so lit they didn't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then like Plaza improvised or some shit, and he had the crowd lit until they got everything set up, and then we just continued the show. So I wouldn't really call it embarrassing, but it was shocking, because I just was right there trying to turn up with my verse, and I'm like, boom, do. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I look and I see Nick right there, they're sprawled out, and security coming over, and we're like, no, we're good, we know him, he's cool, he's fam, So I just that was pretty funny. What's another crazy thing? I mean, there's so many different shows, bro. Maybe the most impactful experience for me. I mean, I've opened for numerous people, bro. Like over the years, I'm sure you guys have seen all the photos. But what was most impactful was that year I did Soundset. And when we got off stage, we went to the main stage, and I got to see Travis Scott's, because they put the drape down, and I got to see them set up his entire contraption. And I'm like, damn, that's a lot of shit. They had truckloads unloading, and I'm like, okay, no wonder he's 100,000 a show. I don't know how much he is now, but at that time, I think that's how much he was.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense of how much. That's why he's that much. This nigga got animatronic birds and shit, lights and pyrotechnics exploding on the stage and bird cages swinging that he's swinging from, and then the nigga got the auto-tune with all the special effects, and you can hear him over the. It was like 70-something thousand. It was retarded number of people, bro. It was crazy. And I just remember being in between both the main stages where all the generators and all the little engineers were, with that little skinny sheet that was in between both the main stages. They had just shut down Gucci main set. Then it was like Erykah Badu, and then it was somebody else, I can't remember. And then that's when they were setting up Travis Scott's, and I seen all of that. And then I seen, Kylie standing there, and that was like my first real impression of like Hollywood anything. I ain't really did no other shows bigger than that at that time. So I'm sitting there like, wow, this is surreal. Like, I just killed the show. Now I'm standing here looking at all these happening on the stage and everything, and that was just like my real little first peek at like what I could really try to do. And then that was before I even moved to LA or anything to make it a reality. You know what I mean? So I think that was probably the most impactful, just because of how many people it was and how many people had their hands in the air and how controlled he had the crowd. I've never seen that in my life. So I was just like, oh, that's $100,000 show. That's what it looked like. I bet. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get there.
Get there.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you mentioned free Wi-Fi a few times and like Plaza. Like, what's like your relationship with all them? So.
I'm cool with Plaza. We linked up like quite a few times. We had quite a few conversations, quite a few arguments, over the years. But ultimately, like, we've definitely worked past our issues, and he's grown as an artist, and I feel like he's learned from the experience just as much as I have. And I feel like at the time that we went through that beef, we were still kind of learning, and it was just a bunch of miscommunication that probably really could have got resolved before it got to that. But at the time, how are you supposed to communicate that when you're part of the issue? Mm-hmm. So Plaza's cool. I just texted him the other day because I told him I was coming up here, but I think he's actually in LA, so it's like we traded places for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think he's out there. I'm not really sure if he is or isn't, but from what it looked like he might have been out there. And then De Niro, I mean, I've been trying with this man, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's angry with me, but I feel like he might be more angry with himself, and he probably doesn't understand that's what he's feeling, and it's getting projected onto me. Because when we had a conversation about it, he couldn't really tell me why he was angry with me, and I gave him multiple opportunities to try to express that, and our conversation got to a cordial point, but I can still tell that he still was feeling some type of way. So I was like, I just left it alone at that point, and then I've never talked to him since. And then I think I checked into with him recently with a text now that I'm remembering, and I think I just was congratulating him on something small, and then I think he had liked the message or said thank you, bro, or something. And that was where it was left off at. So from that point, in my eyes, it seems like everything's chill, but I wouldn't call it like I could just call him and he'd pick up, or we could just go out to eat or pull a show together, because I feel like that's what me and Plaza was low-key trying to do. Was we was trying to pull a show together, maybe just like a one little what if. That would have been funny, like one little last wahoo real quick, just come together real quick, do a quick project, do a quick show, turn up, and but we still independent, we still learned, we still grew from that point forward. But I felt like that would be something owed to the city, just because of how all of that played out, you know what I mean? And that would be a solid conclusion for people, so they can grow past it without feeling inconclusive. But ultimately, that would be up to not only my decision to make, you know what I mean? So I feel like this is like that movie, Straight Outta Compton. Like you know the scene. What is it? Not Dre. Ice Cube, when he was going through it, and then Dre was trying to mediate the situation back and forth between him and I forgot who he fell out with. Was it Easy he fell out with in the movie? I think it was. So I felt like it was kind of getting like that on the Clubhouse when they had us talking about it. Cause like I could tell like me and Plaza was cool. I could tell in his mind he was probably thinking like, alright, if De Niro go through with it, then I'm gonna just probably turn up with my niggas real quick, you know. But so I think he was just trying to vibe him out, you know what I mean? And I don't know, this is just my personal speculation. So and then I'm trying to vibe him out, but I just feel like that's just the reality of the situation is. You know, I still feel like he is processing everything, and obviously he just had a child, De Niro, so I'm sure he's wrapped up with all of that, and it seems like he's still dropping music and shit. His album did pretty well that he dropped recently, so he seemed like he still got shit going on, but I feel like realistically that situation affected all of us very personally, because
when you say that situation, what kind of...
when we all fell out and got dropped from the label.
What made, like, you guys, like, what was, like, the falling out? Like, what made you guys get dropped or, like, fall out as, like, a group and just kind of, you know, just having some animosity? Like, what was the reasoning behind that?
And not to try to re-spark any negative energy, I won't go into too much detail.
Exactly,
just because, like, people going to watch this, bro, and they going to be mad if I'm talking too much about certain shit. But
so you can keep it broad.
I felt, and in my personal experience, I felt like it was some weird shit going on with our one of our management teams, and ultimately things just kept getting weirder from there, and I think it just was miscommunication, and then a lot of us being naive and afraid to make choices for ourselves because we were listening to a lot of people in our ear around us, because we didn't start off as homies. We didn't know each other until we made that record. And the label was like, well, y'all want to be a group? And we're like, all right, let's just try to do it one time for the city. So as we were getting to learn to know each other, we opened up, we got close, and then people started feeling like they was lying and getting stabbed in the back, and certain things were getting said that was not true, and it just kept getting uglier and uglier, you know, and ultimately it led to a diss record and then us getting dropped. But I think we got dropped before the diss record actually happened, now that I think about it. But that was my take on that, you know. I felt like there was a way that we could have avoided that, and I was trying to mediate the situation, and in my perspective, I feel like my guys were looking at me as if I was making the situation worse because I was tampering with it instead of leaving it be. But I was trying to mediate and help the situation, because how do you expect to grow unless we talk through things to figure out what's going on? Otherwise things are just going to keep being chipped on shoulders, and then your audience is going to start to sense that if it's not harmony within yourselves, you know. So I just was trying to keep it a buck and keep everything transparent with everybody, not realizing that some information you might not need to share with certain people, and some information you don't need to repeat, and some information is probably better kept, and it can be detrimental, especially if you're trying to help the situation and you accidentally might say too much about something, and then now it's just spiraling out of your control. So there was just a bunch of shit that kind of boiling frog effect, if you want to say, that kind of led up to that, to us kind of just the label finally ultimately saying, okay, we're not going to give you guys any more time to figure this out, bye. You know, because they gave us time to work out through our issues, and it just wasn't working, man.
I feel that.
Our egos were in the way, and people didn't want to set a pride aside, and we just was like, no, I'm right, no, listen, because this is the point I'm trying to make. And you know, it's just nobody wanted to listen, everybody wanted to lead, you know. So
I feel that.
Lesson learned.
Hell yeah. Cause I when I first kind of got into like the music scene out here in Minneapolis, for sure, like, cause I originally am from Mankato, Minnesota, and then I moved out here. I've been in Minneapolis for like 3.5 years now, and that's kind of like, and then that's kind of like, but I was into like the music stuff before then, but I didn't really dive into the Minneapolis scene. But like at that point, free Wi-Fi was kind of like a thing that had already broken up. So I didn't know exactly.
So you
like
caught the tail end of it.
Yes, I that was kind of like just a little bit of a learning curve for me right there too.
No, you're good.
That's probably good for, you know,
I
some
guess
people
the pre-story to that was like I was already dropping shit early 2016, making noise, and then Plaza was too, and so was De Niro. So Angelo brought us together all on one record. It was like, oh, y'all should just work together. I think it'd make some noise. And then sure enough, it just happened to go viral on Facebook, and that was it. And
then that's how you got the label deal, was as a group.
So it went viral on Facebook first. Then it started picking up traction on YouTube, and then at the time I had used like my last $500 to put into the music video, and then Angelo flew me out to LA the first time, like 2016. So I was living in the studio, eating off the EBT card, sandwiches in the fridge, showering at the gym up the street, right off Hollywood Boulevard and Ivar, right there, but the Juicy Queens and shit, just living out the studio. So not knowing that everybody I'm recording and mixing is like A&Rs and shit from certain labels, I'm not knowing. I'm just trying to make my money and survive and try to figure out how to play. You know what I mean? So then somehow Alan Kingdom shared the song on Twitter. So now it's going viral on Facebook. Alan Kingdom had shared it. Alan Kingdom at the time was already popping because of the whole Kanye shit. It was still kind of spicy. You know what I mean? So now I'm lit on Twitter and Facebook, and it was going on YouTube. So then he invited me to the show. He said, "You want to work, or you want to." He said, "Hey man," he said, "Hey boy, you turning up to Paul, and you want to work? Yeah, you want to open up for my birthday?" I said, "Okay, yeah, sure. I'll come up there," you know. And I flew up there, did the show, and I brought out Plaza and De Niro because at the time we weren't a group yet. It was just us three. You know what I mean? And initially it was just my record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we get there, we do the show, the recap was lit. So by the time I'm there, dude come to the studio like, "Yo, where the engineer at?" Dude was like, "Oh, he had a show." He's like, "Wait, he an artist?" Showed him my music. He took it back to Atlantic Records because apparently he's like an intern A&R at Atlantic. So he took it to one of the other A&Rs at Atlantic, and they were like considering me in Plaza. And I think they just couldn't figure out what they wanted to do. So they ultimately turned all of us down. And then I guess they shopped it over to Rostrum. Meanwhile, our management at the time already knew the person at Rostrum. So then now Rostrum's getting our information from Atlantic, and then the other person that just knew the same person from Rostrum so happened to get the recap the same week that Atlantic sent them the music video. So they see the traffic and response online, and then they see how people respond live, and that's what sold them. We didn't even have a million hits by then. It was just they saw the reaction, public reaction, and what was doing currently online. They were like, "All right, get them down here." And they took everything down online, made us a group, rebranded everything, and then relaunched everything as if it was never released, like the next year, or like 6 months later or some shit like that.
Crazy story.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time,
Absolutely,
my guy.
my brother.
This podcast was great, man. I don't know, you might not be able to see me, but shout out. Shout out yourself. New song out now. Make sure you get it all platforms. I'll let you take it away though. You can let them know a little bit about you, where to follow you, all that.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Rift. You can find me on all platforms at THARIFT. Shout out to Waterwave TV. Hey.
Yes, sir.
There it is.
Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, all that. We out.
All that good shit.